Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Hall and I'm here with Massimo Arrighetti of SIA. Thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you.
So the payment sector is undergoing rapid change. How do you see the market changing in the future?
Well, the market is changing fundamentally at least from 3 points of view. The first is from the regulator. We have been seeing a number of new rules over the last few years aimed to open up the market to new competitors. And this will also go deeper in changing, for example, the pricing, introducing a fixed price by law on some services. The second change is on the side of the offering. We are seeing more and more new entrants, new competitors. In the past, we were used to see retailers, telcos, or e-commerce like PayPal. But now we are seeing more and more startup in this business. If you look over the last year, there has been more than 1,300 of new ventures from non-banks. Most of these ventures were focusing on payments. And the third change is in the consumer habits. The average consumer around the world every month gets in touch with his bank 18 times via a mobile device, 7 times through a PC, 1.8 times through an ATM, and only 0.6 times through branches. So this means that the habits of the consumer are changing, and in order to buy a credit card or even other things like personal loans, for example, the average consumer spends from 2 to 4 weeks on the internet just comparing different offerings from banks and non-banks.
The payment sector is now highly competitive with many new entrants offering attractive services. What does this mean for banks and how should they react to these challenges?
Well, just consider that over the last years or so, there has been more than 1,300 of new initiatives, all of them coming from non-banks, and most of them were in the payment sector. This means that there are a rate of innovation that have never been experienced from banks over the last 50 years or so. All the changes in the payment arena has been very slowly and were driven by the banks. Now changes are driven by non-banks. And if you consider the last new participant like Apple or like the giants of the web, the other thing is that the new competitors are definitely much bigger than banks. So there is not a single bank that is able to compete against the giant of the web. When Apple or PayPal or Amazon release new services, these new services immediately available in the pocket of hundreds of millions of consumers. There is not a bank around the world that has such power of penetration of the consumer. So the banks have really to take into account how to compete with this giant and how to compete with this increased number of innovation that every month comes out on the market.
So do you think banks need to rethink their strategies and look to outsource their payments business to third parties? So what are the benefits and risks?
Outsource can be an answer to this challenge because traditionally banks have been used to do everything in-house, but this is no longer possible. There is an issue of size of investment that has to be faced, and not a single bank can compete against the amount of investment that this giant can put on the table. And therefore outsourcing some of these services may be an option to reduce the investment and to possibly take over a number of initiatives in parallel and just to do experiment without having to invest too much in each of the road and may drive to nothing. I think that for the future we will see more and more banks using an industrial approach. You know, in the manufacturing it is normal for a company to buy components and just assemble these components within its own product. We will see more and more banks outsource for some of the services and for some of the payment services, particularly the more innovative.
Massimo, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching.